And I'll let her do that what she will.
She says then that she will approach the Relentless with you as equals, and let them decide which of the two of you is stronger, with the understanding that whichever one is deemed less worthy will likely be obliterated by its power.
I will be very sorry to see that happen to you.
And for the duration of the march, she says, she would ask of you one more gift.
Listening?
She says that she will bring your Celestial to bed with her each night while you march.
Riot says that's not a gift I can give, but I also don't think it's one you'll have to work very hard to take.
Well, now hold up. And Mahogady's suddenly interested. We've only got the one Celestial. That makes him valuable. What are you willing to give us?
Keelan is so proud of Mahogany right now. You have no idea.
Liberation swats Mahogany with a rolled up newspaper.
Do you guys attempt to get any...
What do you say? Yeah. What, Riot looks back at Liberation, or not Liberation, Kelian. Is he here?
Everybody's here, yes.
Yeah, and looks back at Liberation. What do you say, Liberation? Or Kelian. Why do I keep confusing the two of this? Yeah, Riot looks back at Kelian and says, what do you say to that?
I want to know what's in it for the rest of us.
She'll allow you to march with her unit along to the Relentless and present her and Riot as equals to them. That's what you get out of it.
We want. That's what we wanted. All you have to do is want it anyway.
Yeah, right.
Does anybody get up to any trouble during the march as you guys are moving?
No.
I mean, Keelan's getting into trouble every night, it sounds.
And it's violent and unpleasant every night. You've got fresh scars in the morning, tooth marks. Do they have claws? They kind of have claws.
I feel, I guess it's that time again where I got to remind everyone of Keelan's depravity.
Yeah.
There's
I don't think any of us have forgotten.
No. You said unpleasant, but I think that's making a judgment call that I, as a GM, wouldn't be comfortable with.
During the march, Liberation.
Hey.
There's less than 100 Bugbears together. The unit was slightly larger than that. There was actually several Bugbear units inside of this larger army that Chinax managed to consolidate under her command. And they have no small number of goblin prisoners. Speaking of getting up to trouble, what is Liberation's thoughts on these goblin prisoners? I mean, they're just being made to march in line. They're lashed together with ropes. There is a Bugbear taskmaster marching them along. If not for Riot's magical door filled with food, they would probably be butchering these goblins on a daily basis for sustenance. As it is, they're going to be made to just do kind of menial labor and then, if necessary, provide the very first wave of attack if they get into a fight. There's probably only about a dozen of these prisoners or so.
Okay, is it just the one taskmaster keeping an eye on all these guys?
There's a few different ones they cycle through.
Okay.
But I mean, during the march, they'll have a lot of eyes on them pretty much at all times.
Okay, because I was going to say, there was a time where each of them might be distracted, like during the stop for food. It depends on how long is the march going to take.
Make an intelligence investigation check. What about the rest of you? Getting in any trouble?
14.
I'm interested to see what Liberation's doing here.
Okay.
Like Riot's probably watching this.
I just want to make it clear. Kelian is giving it as good as he's getting it. That's important, and I want that on the record.
Okay, and every morning Kelian coughs up a hairball.
I want on the record that Mahogany was trying to trade Kelian's sexual services for those goblins. Liberation stopped him.
And Nath, getting up to any trouble?
Nope.
No. Liberation.
That's a 14 on my investigation.
There would be a period of time, because every I mean, I say night, it's really like after every 10 hours or 12 hours of marching, Probably after 10 hours, you stop for a meal. March for another 10 hours or so. Then they break for a period of sleep. That's when they actually put the pavilion back up. Chinax takes Kelian into the tents. And at this point, this is when Riot is bid to open her door to the magical food Narnia. There's a period of time during that point which you will have to be acting with a level of exhaustion because you've been marching all day long with very little break.
Okay.
But if you manage to, you think, incapacitate 2 bugbears that are set to keep watch over the goblins, you might be able to free them all. They're all bound with ropes that you're sure you can just break with your axe.
I have another plan.
Okay.
And that is, each time we break, liberation just goes for one at a time.
What you mean, like one goblin?
One goblin at a time.
But you need to get close enough to the goblins to break one free. You're going to have to incapacitate the 2 bugbears watching over them just to get close enough. Otherwise, they're going to be able to see what you're doing. And even though you're considered an honored guest of their war chief, setting free their prisoners is going to be seen as a breach of trusts between you. Unless you have some grand distraction and or invisibility plan in the works. And set free one at a time. In which case, the bugbears watching them will probably be executed for letting the goblins escape.
I can create a field of magical darkness. I can do that.
Okay.
Have you shared your Does Nath know that you're trying to do this?
Is Nath an idiot?
I don't think Nath hasn't spent as much time with liberation as anyone else, though.
If there's one thing you've known about liberation in the time that you've is like, that these goblins are being coerced, that are being forced to march.
I'll just have you come over I'll wave over to you some point after a meal when no one else is around, and I'll mention, I could just drop a sleep spell on both of the guards.
That would be most helpful. And I would in fact pay you for such a service.
Slavery's an abomination, don't worry about it.
I like the way you think, Nath.
So the plan is Nath is going to put the guards to sleep, and Liberation is going to destroy those ropes?
Yeah.
That sounds like a good plan.
Go ahead and roll the sleep spell.
7th level.
Okay. That's like a million D8s, but...
That's a lot of D8s.
That's the amount of D8s you're going to need for hobgoblins.
In fact, I got to get calc.exe.
Sleep loses usefulness very fast.
I mean, they're CR1 monsters, but they're pretty beefy CR1 monsters.
That's what I'm saying.
5 plus 6.
11?
So before he makes this roll, Liberation.
17.
Okay.
17 D8.
Nice.
If
I
one of-
thought you were saying that's what you rolled, and I was like, how is that possible?
Liberation. If he drops one of the bugbears, what's your follow-up?
What's my follow-up?
Because there's a chance he'll drop one, but not the other one. I don't think there's a chance that he'll drop neither of them.
I'm trying to looking at my character sheet, all the options I have here to see if anything might help in that.
91 hit points.
91, okay. So, Liberation, what are you preparing to do in case only one of them drops?
Non-lethal 5-finger freaking pokey poke.
Okay.
And just not non-lethal chop to the back of the neck, like Austin Powers style.
Fortunately, both of them actually drop, and I think you could have got a third one as well.
I think you get both bugbears and then like 7 kobolds.
I was gonna ask, like, How many hit points do you two have?
Each bugbear's got 27 hit points. They're kind of beefy for CR1 creatures.
Liberation has 99 hit points.
Okay.
So you have probably about a couple of minutes to do something with these goblins before other bugbears rather, take notice. You probably got about 5, maybe 10 minutes if you're quiet about it. So what's the plan? Just cut the ropes and let them free?
Yes. That is the basic plan. And keep quiet until you're so far away you can't see us anymore.
And I mean, they do. They make their way off into the distance, making as little noise as possible. What do you guys do with the 2 bugbears you put to sleep?
Leave a pile of ropes that have been cut. Next to him.
And how long does sleep last?
Just a minute.
Just a minute. Where are you guys at the end of that minute? Well,
Not
you would
your
have
end.
had to do something to them while you're freeing these goblins, which would take longer than 1 minute.
You've got all this extra rope that you just cut?
Yeah, it's true.
Bind
And
them
you're
up.
very fast.
Yeah.
I mean, blindfold them first.
Yeah. Yeah. Tie him up, blindfold him.
Okay. And by the time they come to, and they see that you're helping, or they're not seeing anything, the blindfolds, but they're kind of aware that someone is helping the goblins make their mistake. Are they gagged as well?
Yes.
And they're struggling, trying to get free as you guys finish it up. What do you do to them once the goblins are on their way?
I say make ourselves scarce. What do you think?
I grab liberation to dimension door to the other side of the camp.
Okay.
Makes sense.
These 2 bugbears are considered derelict in their duty for letting the prisoners escape. Chinax is absolutely incensed. And yeah, they're going to be executed for falling down on the job. And for the rest of the march, the rest of the camp is on very high alert because clearly there's some kind of surgical strike team coming up from behind, probably made up of goblins and such, who are able to free their prisoners. No attack actually comes.
Yeah.
So they're on medium alert.
Do you know this execution just happen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
They were complicit.
They were complicit. They were just trying to do their jobs.
That's
just
what
following
complicit
orders,
means.
That is the worst possible excuse you could ever give liberation.
Oh, I thought you meant they were complicit in helping the goblins escape,
No.
in which they absolutely weren't.
No, they were complicit in keeping these guys oppressed.
Keep talking about oppression. Don't make an anarchist of you yet.
So about a week or so of marching. It's actually difficult to tell exactly how many days pass because they're not marching in schedule of what you would consider a day. But 7 of these cycles of 10 hours of marching, break for a meal, 10 more hours, break for sleep. And along the way, Chinax's army does absorb some other scattered remnants or groups. Some of them are laid waste. They're not considered to be valuable or worthwhile, and their food and weapons are taken. Others are groups of other types of goblinoids, even small groups of orcs, human mercenaries, renegade mercy killers, that sort of thing. By the time you see the Relentless on the horizon, marching across the cubes. Her numbers have almost doubled. And instead of just Bugbear, she's now in command of a much larger contingent. And she seems very, very proud of herself. And so the day has come for you to approach the Relentless along with Chinax.
All right.
Who's doing what in preparation for this day? Are we going to do any crazy polymorph or abjuration kind of stuff?
What kind of horse shit's going on, guys?
Should polymorph us into Arcanoloths.
I don't think that would work.
But, we want to join in. We want in on the Relentless. No.
If it didn't work against
I'm
Chin
going
X,
to
I don't
go
think
ahead
there's any point
and
seeming
use
again.
my strongest abjuration. I'm going to put a mind blank on Riot at the beginning of the day.
Okay. Immune to psychic damage or any effect that would sense emotions or read thoughts via divination. Okay. Foils
That lasts
even
24
wrist
hours.
spells. Chinax and you guys are marching up towards the Relentless. She has selected her two of her brawniest lieutenants that you've become familiar with. Also, the commanders of several of the smaller forces that she has since assimilated and have bent the knee to her.
Oh, sorry. Can I just want to put up a telepathic bond, which lasts for 8 hours.
Sure.
Does it last for 8 hours? Or is it 1? 1 hour, actually. Okay.
Riot's telepathic bond lasts for 8 hours. Rarity's
Yeah.
is much shittier.
And you all march out. And, I mean, the Relentless is towering above you. And Chinax is kind of taking the lead. And where she's essentially bringing you to would... Where are your little tokens here? Here they are.
Her little tiny tokens.
Ferocity's not there.
Why not?
So you guys would all just kind of be... It's a side view, so we'll put you all in a line. We will go ahead and...
Oh, oops.
That's probably pretty good. And she's marching you right into the thing's path.
Ah,
And you are slowly reaching the point where you realize that she's putting you in a position where if the Relentless so chose, all it would have to do is give the order and it could just roll over you. This
But
is the
by-
position she's going to be in.
By you mean like all of us, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Including herself.
Including herself and her
Yeah.
men.
Okay.
We've got like dimension door ready, right?
Riot's got
Teleport, yeah.
I don't
Riot's
have
got
any kind of that
teleport.
shit. I got
Nath
wind
got
wall.
teleport. Now's got dimension or plane
All
ship.
right.
Liberation's got
We're good.
run
Okay.
very effing fast.
If she tries to fuck over, she's way more fucked than we are.
Yeah.
I mean,
Alright.
it's also moving super ass slow. Like we could just walk
Right.
slowly in the opposite direction.
That was like sorry. Okay, sorry, Rick. When you said thousands of fiends died in the siege on the Baator army, I was like, didn't they didn't just walk away?
No, it barreled right over their walls is the story she told.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
picturing the scene in Austin Powers where the guys
Yeah, that's what I was
running
thinking
the
too.
steamroller.
Ah!
Get out of the way!
Right now the thing's not moving.
Okay.
Oh.
And you take up position in front of it.
Riot's gonna try and stand next to Chinax.
Okay.
Like I want to present us as equals here.
What are the rest of you standing in relation to Riot?
Oh, Mahogany doesn't give a shit. He's just kind of behind.
Behind her?
And also be behind.
Yeah. Liberation's behind
Is
Riot
this
as
side
well.
view?
Yeah, this is a side.
Yeah, it's a side view.
Eventually you hear the groaning of gears and winches and machinery as the gangplank on the side of the thing comes down, crashes to the ground. A couple of winged Yugoloths come over the side and are lashing chains across the edges of the gangplank.
Are you doing sound effects?
I'm not. Somebody is.
Sorry.
Rad.
Sorry. Host me.
This got really good all of a sudden. Holy shit. I was like, man, we're going pro.
They
Yeah.
drive spikes into the iron cube, melt them in place, and lash the chains down so the gangplank doesn't move as lines of Mesoloths come marching down. very disciplined. I mean, they're forming up military-grade lines. Like hobgoblins would pop wood over these lines.
Liberation leans over to Riot and says, "Hey, are these guys usually that organized?"
You didn't even have to do that. We got a telepathic link up, dude.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't have
That.
data.
Yeah.
Yeah, he leans in and says nothing.
Yeah. Exactly.
Eventually, the Mezzoloths, they form up, probably a good 100 of them. 10 groups of 10 in nice little rectangles. And eventually they are joined by a trio of Arcanoloths. The Arcanoloths are back by the gangplank. They're not walking, or they're not marching. They're walking somewhat leisurely. And when they get to the bottom, they regard your group. Riot and Mahogany immediately see that one of the Arcanoloths recognize the two of them.
Right, winks at him.
Of course he does.
And they exchange some words outside of the range of your hearing. Riot.
Mm-hmm.
You then receive a telepathic message. Not over your telepathic bond. Just, I mean, I guess you have kind of a telepathic switchboard up there now. There's lots of different ways. Actually, can you receive telepathy with Mind Blank, or is it just protect against
I think it
divination?
just can't be. What? Yeah, let me. I don't know what this does. It's my spell.
It sounded to me like she can receive telepathy. She just can't get her mind read.
Yeah, that seems like
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
You receive a telepathic message that says, and this is as those three Arcanoloths are at the bottom of the gangplank speaking amongst themselves. The message simply says, "Before I approach, give us a show that you come in friendship." And after the message fades from your mind, all 100 of these Mezzoloths that stand between you and them do the same kind of motion with their spears at the ready. And the sound of it, of all the butts of their spears clanging against the iron at once, is deafening for just a moment. And he's looking at you and waiting for your response.
Riot takes the fork and makes the same motion.
And at that, he begins to walk towards you. Who has the highest passive perception? Probably Kelian?
It's
Riot's
Riot.
from Nope, it's Riot.
Right.
It's Riot again.
That's right.
Do the other four of you just want to take off and me and Nick can do the rest of the session?
Yeah, you and Nick could rep for this the rest of the night. It's fine.
I'm glad I didn't leave.
Who has the highest passive perception other than Riot? Since she's preoccupied at the moment.
Probably
I have plus
Mahogany.
17.
Yeah.
Plus 17?
Plus 17?
That's what it says on the character sheet.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
the
plus
perception
18
is plus-
for here.
Oh yeah, mine says plus 15.
Yeah, that's the way the character. That's the way
I
the
have a
thing is.
passive perception of 18.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Mahogany, you guys are literally standing under the forecastle of the I keep wanting to say Dauntless, the Relentless at this time. Again, it's not casting any shadows because all the light here is ambient, but you catch movement above you, and looking up, you see above you no small amount of these Mezzoloths. So I guess that would be kind of around the sides here,
Okay.
next to the gangplanks. All armed, many of them armed with ranged weapons. Enormous longbows, arrows, the shafts of which twice as long, twice as heavy as what you're used to seeing in battle. And commanding them is a fourth Arcanoloth. And he approaches. And he looks at Chinax. And he speaks. In common. so that all of you can understand. And he says, I am happy that my dear friend Riot has come to pay a visit, she and all her companions. I am wounded that you had to come in with the rabble. And he looks at Chinax when he says that. And she bristles at the insult.
Riot speaks up and says, point of order, I come with an equal.
Mahogany thinks to
And
himself,
he chuckles very unkindly.
yeah, Mahogany thinks to himself, why did we go get those guys?
And he looks at Mahogany, and he says, you speak, of course, of your Genasi friend as an equal. And perhaps the wizard behind you, and the marksman as well, and the street fighter. They are your equals, surely.
It says make of it what you will, but that's how I come.
Okay, roll initiative.
Ah, cool.
No, I don't, like, I know where this is going, and it's not a fight against the...
I think so too, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's not our problem.
I'm rolling 100 separate initiatives for all these Mezzoloths.
I bet you are, Brickroad. I really bet you are. $132.
Riot.
4.
4.
Nope, 6. Used to be 4, now it's 6.
6. Kelian.
15.
Oops. Liberation.
17.
Nath.
Nath acts at 6.
And the other guy.
8.
8. Where's that cipher initiative?
It turned that 3 into an 8.
Okay. Liberation, you're surprised, but you have a monk ability that you can be not surprised anymore.
No, I don't.
Oh, that's right. That was a Githzerai ability.
That was a Githzerai thing.
Okay. Kelian, you're surprised.
No, I'm not.
You're not.
But yes, I am.
Are you or aren't you?
Me, the player, is not surprised.
Okay.
Kelian's very surprised.
Kelian's, the character, isn't surprised. Mechanically.
Sorry.
The Arcanoloth gives an order to the Mezzoloths, and they all lower their spears towards you guys. Again, one fluid military motion, and then he begins casting a spell. Liberation, you're not surprised anymore.
Am I? Oh, okay.
You got your reaction back.
I do have my reaction back. Yeah, counterspell.
Counterspell at what level?
Only 3rd.
Only 3rd. Roll it. Roll high.
Well, I mean,
LOL! Oh! It came to that 1. Oh, man. So let's see. So
let's
that's...
roll a 2.
Proficiency is 5. No, that almost landed
You don't
on
add
a
your
1.
proficiency.
Oh.
Just your ability score.
That's a
that
math
is-
thing only that
Ah.
that is proficiency.
Then that is a 16.
16. And
Yeah.
you attempt the counterspell, but the magic is too strong for you. And Mahogany is gone.
God damn it again!
Just. And at that, the Arcanoloth smiles very evilly and says, after the show, we have much to discuss. And begins walking back towards the gangplank as these Mezzoloths step forward and start slaughtering the rabble. They don't touch you guys.
Of course they don't.
What do the 4 of you intend to do during this mindless slaughter?
Liberation's-
Riot is going to try... The gangplank's down, right?
Yes.
How far away is it?
It's hundreds of feet.
Hundreds of, how many hundreds of feet?
I mean, you can see the scale right here, like 400,
Yeah.
maybe 350, 380 or so.
Okay.
Another 200 to get up the gangplank onto the vessel.
Alright, Riot tries to push through the melee to touch Avgi.
Okay.
And Dimension Door up to the Relentless.
you are going to have to move through the threat range of a lot of Mezzoloths to do that.
Okay.
Because, I mean, they're on their turn, which comes right after his, they all set down onto the rabble. They're fighting back. Your turn comes kind of the end of the order here. Mahogany, I'm just going to go ahead and take off the map here. Did you want to go ahead and get Ferocity's character sheet ready?
Yeah, then I guess I can't do that.
I mean, you can. It's just you're gonna put yourself at a great amount of risk.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay. So your goal is to get to Chinax, grab her, and Dimension Door to where? Up onto?
Up to the top of the gangplank that I saw.
Up to the top of the gangplank. Okay. All right, I've got a Mezzoloth stat block here. I don't remember if I said it on stream, but before we opened last week, I warned you guys that something extremely unfair was going to happen to one of them.
Yeah.
But don't worry, it's not against the rules. It's just...
No, I know what happened.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure I know what happened.
After the session, I'm interested to see how close you get. Okay.
I have no clue.
Riots. I want to see if you're still standing by the time you get to Chinax.
Yeah. I mean, Riot's pretty hardy for a caster, but I don't know if she's that hardy.
The good news is they're going to use their reactions to take melee attacks against you. They don't get to like use their cloud kill spell against you.
Right.
Which is nice.
And they don't only get multi-attack, they only get one attack per.
That's correct. So
how many do you get that are over or that are 14 or over?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus a critical hit. 2 of them missed.
Not likely to take down Riot.
All right, let's see. Where's the D6? Oh, I put them all over there. All right, this is all magical damage, by the way.
Yeah.
Number 1.
Any way to resist anything.
Actually, I'll just roll all of these at once. So 1, 2, 3.
Unless these are all lightning attacks, which I don't think that they are.
No, these are all piercing attacks.
Yeah.
4, 5 plus an extra D6 for the critical. Sorry, I gotta get calc.exe. $47 points of piercing damage as you're wading through this just ocean of tridents, attempting to get to Chinax, and you do reach her, bloodied and bruised.
Okay. Is she gonna resist the Dimension Door?
She will not.
Yeah. I don't know. Some of these NPCs you throw at us, I just don't know what their problem is.
Most of them are evil. It's just in their nature.
Yeah.
So where are you Dimension Dooring to? Go ahead and mark me on this. On the big map up here.
The big map. Okay. Where's the gangplank? So like up here-ish.
Yeah, the gangplank's on the side here.
Yeah.
Next to Father Mondo's soup kitchen.
This is the castle here, which corresponds with where you're standing underneath.
Yeah. Riot's hurt, but for the record, that didn't bloody her.
Okay. Just very, very stabbed.
Yeah.
And what about the rest of you? Each of you are going to get basically one action before this slaughter is done. The rest of these bugbears are not going to withstand all these Mezzoloths.
Oh, each of us?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not going to just let... I mean, except for Mahogany, who's gone.
Kelian is going to casually walk his way to the gangplank. Just dodging, sort of... I don't know.
I mean, are you disengaging? Are you making sure nobody stabs you?
Yeah, that's basically it. Just like, no, thank you.
Because they're not going for you. None of them are attacking you, but Riot purposely waded through them to get.
Yeah, we're gonna deal with that. We're gonna deal with that.
Okay. What is Liberation doing down here?
Liberation is making his way toward the gangplank as well, ducking and weaving through the through the melee.
And what about Nath?
Kelian, do you have anything from Mahogany over the Mind Link?
Kelian,
and also let's go over my own mind. Like, Mahogany, are you there?
you cannot reach Mahogany, and Kelian, you have no connection to him.
Maybe I don't know what happened to Mahogany.
Static.
You're
really
still attuned to the
out,
bracelet for all the good it does you.
I know, right?
Really find out how many of these fuckers I can put in a 60-foot cone, but...
Nodal, how many tales or places to avoid in an infinite multiverse have you written?
Clearly not enough.
Because I forget.
3 or 4, I think.
3 or 4.
Because she was level 3 at the end of that adventure. Give her 1 experience level for each one of those you've written. Because that's another adventure that she's been on. And then we'll bring in Ferocity.
Oh boy.
I don't have anything planned. Sorry. I can't make a level 8 bard that quickly.
Oh, it's going to be more for next session than this one. There's not going to be any more... I hope there's not going to be more combat this session, because we're about to wrap things up. It's getting up to 6.
I'm seeing 3 posts on the Tumblr.
Okay, so that brings her up to level 6. And you guys, nobody stands in your way as you get to the gangplank. As long as you don't make a move to rescue these hapless bugbears and mercenaries, or make a move of aggression towards any of the Mezzoloths, they do not put a hand on you. Riot, arriving where you did, just to the top of the gangplank here?
Yeah.
This Maelder pool that you saw on the blueprint is not there.
Okay.
In its stead, when you get up to the top, what you essentially see is like a glacier. Just this enormous chunk of ice taking up this much physical space.
Okay. So where the pool used to be, there's like a giant glacier.
Right. And you do know that the pool is bored down into the center of the tank as well. There's some kind of shape on the inside of it. But the ice is so cloudy, you can't make out what it is.
Okay.
Chinax is absolutely flabbergasted by what has happened. And your friends are coming up the gangplank behind you. By the time they arrive, the Mezzoloths have finished up laying waste to these bugbears and are setting to stripping them of their equipment, their boots, their weapons, any paltry amount of gold they might have, and itemizing it for returning to the Relentless. So our Arcanoloth friend, I'm going to use this D6, I suppose. We'll just shrink this down. This is one of Kelian's damage dice, I think, but is standing at the top of the gangplank when you arrive. Riot and Chinax first, of course, because they dimension doored up. And again, he's smiling kind of cruelly as you arrive and watches you, but he doesn't make any motions of hostility at this point.
Okay. Riot just says to the Arcanoloth, I brought your servant. I thought you might want her for later.
What's the meaning behind that?
That Chinax is a warlock of the Relentless, and Riot doesn't have a great understanding of how warlock relationships with their patron work.
Okay.
All she's got is kind of what she knows about clerics and their deities, and so she's thinking that the Relentless wouldn't want to lose one of its own, so to speak, in the same way that Aasimar wouldn't want to see her dead.
Okay.
So you're saying you're not so much speaking to the Yugoloth, you're speaking to the Relentless.
Yeah, because the purpose of Riot's earlier question, whose names do you know aboard the Relentless, was to see if Chinax got her power from a specific person or from the Relentless itself. And now she knows it's the Relentless itself.
Okay. The Arcanoloth looks back and forth between Riot and Chinax once. And then he says, she could be dangerous, if allowed to speak. Render her silent, and bring her before me. And then he turns and starts walking up onto the deck. At this part, Chinax looks back at you, and it looks like she's about to break and run after him. Like she's going to try to escape you and go after him and put a knife in his back.
Are we up there?
You guys at this point are making your way up the gangplank. Because, I mean, they teleported up there. They got there much quicker than you did.
All right.
But you can see this little exchange. You know what's about to happen.
Riot does nothing to stop this.
No?
No. Riot doesn't feel like silencing her, and it doesn't feel like stopping the Relentless Servant from doing whatever it will.
Okay. I mean, that's a good way of looking at it, I suppose.
Riot's an anarchist, man.
And as she approaches the Arcanoloth, he just turns and blows her backwards with some kind of force spell that leaves her injured, laying at her feet. And he continues walking aboard.
All right. Riot steps over and goes.
And then the rest of you come up, and she's laying there, injured and bleeding badly.
Healing word.
Kelian?
I'm thinking. If Liberation's healing, he will also just go.
Just step over and Nath as you come past.
She gains 4 hit points.
Okay.
I'm sorry, 5 hit points.
I mean, Nath, you can see what happened. She got blasted with a disintegrate spell.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just say you're lucky you're still in one piece. Hit it any harder, you'd be a pile of fine dust. I'd get out of here and continue on.
Okay.
Where's Mahogany?
You ask, this is the Arcanoloth as you come up?
Yeah.
And he motions back towards the castle back here. So towards the main door here. And he says that you have much to discuss.
Is that part of it?
And he looks towards the giant chunk of ice sitting in the center of the Relentless. And he says that there are many parts of it.
All right, we'll follow him.
Can I ask you something here, Brick?
Go ahead.
It was an Arcanoloth that cast a spell when Mahogany disappeared?
Yes.
And could I pick that specific Arcanoloth out of a lineup?
It's this one you're following right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the same one they conjured us, right?
Yeah, you'd probably be able to put that together pretty easily. I mean, you spoke to him through an open cell door, basically. You've heard his voice before, heard his mannerisms. So yeah, you can. That's exactly who this is.
Okay.
Kelian, how are you wearing your pack with all your stuff?
How am I wearing my pack?
Mm-hmm. Like just cross your shoulders, carrying it at your side.
Nothing
Balance on your head.
shoulder. Nothing particularly different.
All the weight in your pack suddenly shifts as you're coming up behind the gangplank as you see Nath and Riot studying this Arcanoloth walking across the deck. The weight in your pack shifts very, very bizarrely and very suddenly.
Okay, let's investigate what that was.
It's probably fine.
And you take only 1 point of piercing damage as you open the pack, and your cat comes flying out of it and implants its claws deep in your face. And she is terrified. All of her her tail is shot straight out. All her hair, her ears are flat back. Just, you've never seen her in this state. And now she is grabbed onto your head and neck with all 4 of her claws.
I thought she was
and Kelian at that is probably walking around in utter shock, trying to get his balance.
Liberation steadies Kelian.
I'll try and mage hand the cat off his face.
You managed
No.
to pry her
She was-
loose, but you cannot calm her down. She is absolutely frenzied about something
Upset?
here.
What'd you say?
Why?
Why did you
Brick
bring
Road.
that cat?
You
What?
asked us to have an NPC in mind to play after we died.
Do you?
Well, you just introduced her to the scene.
Kelian would have had a much bigger face. Actually, Ferocity can't deal. I mean, she would deal. She can deal 1 damage with an unarmed attack, but she can't do a D4 because she's a Tiefling, not a
Not
Tabashi.
actually a Tabashi.
Exactly.
She'll get alter self eventually.
So I'll leave it up to you to decide why Ferocity is aboard the Relentless.
Sorry, the internet cut out again. What'd you say?
I told Mahogany I'd give him the option to determine why Ferocity is aboard the Relentless.
Got it.
That's gonna be an interesting story.
Because when you guys enter this first room, so let's go ahead and move you up there and kind of unshrink you here. Which means I'll grow you guys back out. Oh, you know what? You're all gone. Deleted.
Whoa,
Farewell.
rude.
Walking into this room.
Something horrible happened to all 5 of us.
Yes.
Lovely.
Dibs on Reese.
3 things happen before the end of the session. Number 1, you feel you're walking into an anti-magic field. The kind that Terrence describes. Magical items go inert. Any magical effects you have up are removed. Riot, make a charisma check.
Okay. That's only a 9, so I'm gonna put some more juice on that.
Give it some extra spin.
Yeah. Come on.
How is
That's
that
only-
only a 9?
What?
How is a 7 only a 9?
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. That should be a 16.
A 16. Okay.
I don't know why it was only a 9. Yeah.
What magical... She has the effect of the mind blank, which she feels instantly go away. What other magic does Riot have going at the moment, if anything?
Telepathic bond.
She had the telepathic bond.
Gone. Well,
Gone.
you cast that as a bard, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else besides that?
No, didn't have anything at the moment.
You feel your connection with Osprey destroyed. Your fork is just a heavy fork. But your telepathic bond, it fades. It's gone. But for a split second, you feel extreme hatred build up inside of your body. Just this intense loathing and suspicion. And you feel like you could have held on to it if you held on to those emotions. Here's how it works mechanically. Because you have Yugoloth blood, you can cast spells in this anti-magic field. Provided, I mean, they're going to be diminished. They're going to be as though you cast them 1 level lower than you actually cast them.
Yeah.
With each spell, you're going to have to make a charisma saving throw. And with each saving throw you fail, your alignment will slip further and further towards neutral evil.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's the first thing that happens when you guys step into this room. All magic is diminished. The second thing is that Ferocity is here for some reason.
That's
she
a
is.
story and a half.
Yeah, we'll find out exactly why next week. And there's 2 other people in the room that the Arcanoloth introduces you to before he makes his exit. The first, you hear a loud dragging sound, something across stone, and an immense woman steps into view. 7 feet tall, skin made of stone, but the smell of death is about her, and you realize you're looking into Serenity's face. You can see all of the wounds she suffered at the hands of those chitons still crisscrossing her body. and the smell of decay and earth still about her. On the other side of the room, a piece of cloth kind of flaps in, just floating in the air, just empty. A bizarre green shade with eye holes and a mouth hole cut into it. And you hear a voice. The Arcanoloth speaks, though you do not see him anymore in the room. And he says, "Let's see just how much use you lot can be to me."
Okay.
And that is the end of our session this week.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
This is one of the better cliffhangers of this campaign. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I don't have to do much to add up experience this week, but I'm going to go make us a straw poll. Again, I apologize for breaking a little bit earlier this week than we usually do. We usually don't break until about 6:30 or so, but I got to take a shower before our party tonight. And then we'll give out some experience. Okay, I heard a beep from Discord. I hope that doesn't mean everybody dropped.
No.
No, we're here.
Okay.
Somebody talking.
I heard a weird beep and it started flashing. And I'm like, oh good, Discord's broken again. Here's our straw poll for the week. And even though Mahogany is dead and we will never see him again, God rest his soul, we can still go ahead and give him blips. Riot, you had a guess for what happened to Mahogany.
Oh, I don't think it's right anymore because you said that the Speak with Mahogany ring was no longer working.
Mm-hmm.
But what I thought happened was he was banished back to Sigil.
No, that's not what happened.
You can't banish someone back to Sigil.
Oh, that's true, you can't.
Oh, I guess you can't. Yeah, okay. No, then he would have been banished back to where was he?
The Outlands.
The Outlands.
Yeah, he would have been
That's a
banished back.
complicated question.
He would have been banished back to the Outlands.
So we give one blip for the most creative solution of the session. Who was creative this week?
I liked using sleep as a way on those hobgoblins. Yeah.
For Nath?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was pretty good, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that just because it's a weird, like, you generally don't take sleep anymore. You get to that
Right.
level.
At this
Right.
point, yeah.
I mean, it's real good at low levels, but yeah, you get up to, what are you guys, 15 now?
Sleep is
I
one
had
of
to
the-
use my second highest level spell slot to be sure to get a couple of level 2s.
Yeah, so
Okay.
to
Exactly.
be sure that he could get 2 bugbears instead of 1.
Like,
Who
Whereas
further-
if I could have
Sleep is the
also
worst
dropped an
scaling.
incendiary cloud for the same cost.
Who furthered the party's goals the most this week? Who gets the assist blip?
If anyone says anything but Riot, I'm going to call you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is all Riot.
Yeah.
I feel like Riot furthered Riot's goals, but I'm willing to come ahead with that.
We give one blip for being the badass. Who is the biggest badass this week?
Liberation headbutting a bugbear.
That was pretty good.
That
Was
Alright.
real good.
And we give one for the intangibles.
Kelian.
Yeah.
Just Kelian.
Just in general.
Either of the two things he did would have deserved it.
Okay.
I didn't get to do the thing I wanted to do, which was when the Mezzoloths started fighting, I was going to turn around and shoot what's her name in the face. Avgi. But Riot took all that damage and then Dimension Doored out. I was just like,
Fuck.
I'll
I
let it
throw
go.
her off now. Like, yeah.
I'm a little bit surprised you didn't shank her when you were walking over her body toward the meeting place.
I thought about throwing
I
her
was
body over
absolutely
the side.
expecting a shank, yeah.
I genuinely thought about that, but if she's still alive, she might still be useful.
What do you call?
So.
Okay. Let's go ahead and get a... Oh, I don't have my belief cheat sheet in front of me here. Let me get that out. Now that everybody's belief is like 8 lines long. Do we have anybody's triple no on beliefs this week? No, everybody's got beliefs to talk about. Okay, who wants to go first?
Kelian is triple no. Sorry, my
Kelian's
internet's
triple no. Okay.
being shit.
Then who wants to go first that's not Kelian?
Yeah, I'll go. I'm easy.
Mahogany. What is Mahogany's belief?
That everything is a perfect state of being, and it's your responsibility to move towards your perfect state.
And did he live that belief this week?
Yeah, I think in Mahogany has a few ways that he tends to live within his belief, and I think the one that applies this week is how when they were trying to treat with the hobgoblins, right?
Yeah.
Everyone has these long, drawn-out discussions and trying to convince them and all that. Mahogany knows the hobgoblin diplomacy is you just go down and you knock out the biggest dude.
Learn anything new about his belief?
No.
And is it changing?
No.
Liberation. What's Liberation's belief?
Chains of oppression must be broken to prevent those bound to flourish, but I must be prepared to accept that some cannot be saved.
And did he live that belief this week?
He did, because there's 12 more goblins running around being free.
I mean, for a few minutes, maybe. Learn anything new about his belief?
Nope.
And is it changing?
Nope.
Mr. Nath, what's Nath's belief?
Those who seek protection should be delivered to proper authority, free from any form of harm, even if it means harming the authority.
And did he live that belief this week?
Yep. The way Nath saw it, this plane is pretty terrible, but there's no reason for those goblins to be chained up. There's no proper authority keeping them there, so.
Okay. Learn anything new about his belief?
Yeah, the evil planes all suck. I mean, I don't think that's particularly new, but
Yeah,
it's good to reinforce from time to time.
And is his belief changing?
No.
And Riot, what's Riot's belief?
Power that oppresses must be answered by power that liberates.
And did she live that belief this week?
Yeah, I think in wading through the melee to free Avgi, who she didn't think deserved it.
Does she think she deserves it now?
What happens to her, I think, now that she's on God, basically, is up to her.
Okay. Learn anything new about her belief?
No.
And is it changing?
Nope.
So everybody but Kelian, I've got 1 belief point for you.
Hooray!
Our straw poll this week, providing it went through correctly. Oh, it's a tie. It's a 2-way tie.
Oh.
Oh dear.
So I'll give out everything first, and then hopefully by the time I come back, the straw poll will be done. Encounter experience. You guys killed 1 hobgoblin.
Hooray!
I'm not a hobgoblin, a bugbear.
Bugbear, yes.
Yeah, that's more XP.
I'm sorry, a bugbear chief.
Oh, yeah.
So it's worth 700. We'll split that 5 ways. Everybody take 140.
Well, wait, hold up. Because I seem to remember there was a lot of assistance we got. You sure you don't want to split that 15 ways?
Yeah, you're right. Let me recalculate.
Yeah, but that assistance was by my action, so
yeah,
it's
as far as I'm concerned, that situation came about by your guys' actions. You created that situation. Okay, so I gave everybody, all 5 of you, blips right now. Nobody's 16 yet, right?
I'm 16, but it hasn't changed. It's still 15.
And I'm also 16.
Okay, so all blips are 1,500.
Oh, no, but I'm literally 16. I thought you were too, right?
I am. I'm 15
it still
hard.
hasn't changed. I got it. No, I was misunderstanding.
So I gave everybody 1 blip for their parts in handling the Bugbear camp. I did not think this session was going to end up in a Bugbear camp, but it did. And that's where we went. I gave Liberation and Nath 1 blip for their part in freeing that goblin. Riot.
Mm-hmm.
I gave you your flaw blip. I don't trust anyone but me not to fuck everything up. My favorite scene pertaining to your flaw this week was when Kelian knew that she could see through your illusions. You had no idea, and you were getting pissed at Kelian for messing it up. That was
That
choice.
was incredible.
Liberation, I gave you your alignment blip.
Cool.
Kelian, I gave you your flaw blip.
For obvious reasons.
For obvious reasons. I gave Nath your alignment blip as well. And Mahogany, I gave you your alignment blip. On top of that, Nath takes the creative blip. Riot takes the assists. Liberation takes the badass. Kelian takes the intangibles. And Riot takes our straw poll for this week. And when we come back next week, we will we'll resolve this fun little cliffhanger.